CJ Flyer back at the fire, another YouTube video. It has been about 4 days since the Luka AD trade went down, about 3.5 days since this press conference had occurred in which Nico Harrison hijacked Jason Kidd's pregame press conference before getting obliterated by the Cleveland Cavaliers. This press conference usually reserved for Jason Kidd to kind of tell the media, hey, these are the players that are available, these are the players that are still injured, this is the game plan for today, so on and so forth. Nico came in the room to make the announcement about the trade, what the mindset was, and my goodness, what a blunder of a press conference it was. The past few days, for those of you that are new, I am, or I guess at this point was, a Dallas Mavericks fan, and have been going through the several stages of grief, primarily anger and denial. I keep seeing these, highlight clips surface on Instagram as I'm scrolling through or other social media sites, and I just cannot believe that this actually happened. I mean, there's only a couple weeks ago I'm seeing posts about how can't wait till Luka's back. He's going to start pulling off these moves again. The algorithm is evil, man. The algorithm, I guess it's simple as it is, it knows I've been looking at Luka posts recently, and then all of a sudden it's just putting a bunch of Luka highlights in my feed. I mean, that must be what it is, but it is absolutely brutal to go through. And then, of course, I'm angry at the idea that, whether it's just Nico Harrison being an awful GM and pulling off this move without telling anyone in the organization outside of ownership who are not basketball people. So even if they had no intention of ruining this team or self-sabotaging for other reasons, it could just be they don't know basketball and they're like, oh, okay, if you think that's a good move, it makes the team better and more competitive this year, then sure, do it. But then there is the theory, of course, that ownership is trying to self-sabotage to make the team bad on purpose, to gain leverage, to try to legalize gambling in Texas by saying, hey, if you guys don't legalize gambling here so that we can build our, Mavs casino entertainment venue, we're going to move this team out to Vegas. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know, but the idea of it just makes me mad already. And even if that's not true, it's, the Nico just doing what he did just puts a whole ton of fury into my soul. I mean, I've been so mad these past few days. It's definitely taken a bit of a toll on my health, and I know that sounds ridiculous to say because it's just sports, just entertainment, but that's what we've been going through, and this has been a time for all of us Mavs and former Mavs fans to kind of come together and bond over all of this, and it's been really powerful. All of the posts I've seen on the Mavs subreddit, on social media, on X, on Instagram, on Blue Sky. I mean, it's everyone's coming together right now, and it really just shows how much of an impact Luka had on this fan base, on this community in Dallas. It's a huge struggle. So, anyways, before I get way off topic here, because we're already 3 minutes in. I just wanted to recap what's been going on over the past few days, kind of share my frustrations with the Mavs PR team, trying to kind of make up for all of the chaos that's been going on, trying to calm down the fan base. It has not been working so far. If anything, it's just been making people more upset. And I also want to, make clear, I have no hard feelings or anything towards anyone that chooses that they still want to support this team. I respect your decision, but honestly, for me personally, with the way the ownership has handled this situation, with the way Nico Harrison handled this trade, I just can't support this team at this time. Whether it's a self-sabotage move or whether it's just complete incompetence. Either way, it's just, I can't give any more money to these folks. It really hurt me. It really did. I think it hurt a lot of us. And it's just I just can't support this. Can't support this move. I never thought a trade like this would make me go 180 on a team ever, but here we are. So, and I have, no hard feelings towards any of the Mavs players that are still on the roster either. Any of the, original guys from last year's finals run. It was a very magical finals run. And, I hope the best for them, but I really just can't be rooting for this team at this time. So that all out of the way now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's been going down the past few days, just to kind of recap everything. So, without further ado, I have some quotes here from the press conference, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in watching and haven't already, I'll put a link in the description. I highly recommend it. Of course, if you're like an angry Mavs fan, maybe, calm yourself down a bit beforehand or get ready to calm yourself down and meditate afterwards or something, because it's pretty frustrating. But, Nico Harrison coming in, hijacking the press conference and trying to open it up with a joke, and no one in that room laughed at all. And I don't blame him. Our man here, Nico Harrison, did not read the room whatsoever, and continued to not read the room throughout the entire press conference. Jason Kidd, of course, looked pretty angry at the very start. He gave the typical response of, I'm Nico and I, our visions aligned, yada yada. But at the same time, Harrison also made it clear that Jason Kidd he was not aware of the trade negotiations at any point in time until right before the trade happened. So, saying the vision is aligned, but also with this fact in mind that Kidd didn't even know about the negotiations, is a real eye-opener here. And it seems pretty clear over the past few days that the only people that within the Mavs hemisphere that knew about this happening was ownership and Nico Harrison, and nobody else. Coaches didn't know, Mark Cuban didn't know, players didn't know, fans didn't know, the local janitor didn't know, the vendors didn't know, no one knew. No one knew about this trade. And that's something we talked about a little bit in Sunday's video, but I just wanted to reiterate that. So no one knew about this. And then as far as reasons for why this trade happened, why Nico Harrison pushed to make this trade happen, was one, because of the Supermax extension coming up. Now, he kind of alluded to the idea that Luka might not be willing to sign the extension, might decide to leave for nothing. Luka's camp, of course, has since stated, they had every intention of staying. We'll get more into that in a second. But the other ridiculous thing here is he almost made it sound a little bit like the Mavs organization didn't want to pay the money. So if Luka would have signed that Supermax extension with the Mavs would have been well over the luxury tax. Owners would have had to pay a ton more money. So that kind of goes into the theory of maybe the owners are just trying to save money. Who knows? Another thing that was pretty frustrating to me was Nico Harrison hardly talked about Luka and what he meant to this team in the past few years. Thank you for your service, blah, blah, blah. He spent more time talking about Maxi Kleber. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, how disrespectful could you be? I mean, it's highly possible that Nico Harrison just had a personal vendetta against Luka. Just made this trade out of pure pettiness, which is ridiculous. But no one's holding him accountable at the moment. There was this statement about defense wins championships, and that Luka was traded for Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is a all NBA defensive team or what have you, and Luka's not as good of a defender. Now, of course, there's all kinds of stats, and you can pull up to. I mean, Luka averaged 2 steals a game during the playoff run last year. He was one of the top ISO defenders in the league. It's this narrative that Luka's defense is not good. Like, yeah, he's had pretty bad moments before where he gets completely blown by. Usually that's when his knees are bleeding. So I don't want to hear an excuse. Luka's defense is not a problem. I don't want to hear it. Just an absolutely ridiculous. Nico broke down the team's emphasis of adding defense moving forward. So it sounds like, they weren't done. They still want to improve the defense of this team even after trading for Anthony Davis. So something else that was commented on in the press conference, Nico Harrison mentioned the fans, said, sorry they're frustrated, but it's something we believe in as an organization. I find this statement kind of hilarious because it's like, no, it's something that you and the ownership believed in. It's no one else knew about it when you made that move. So this is not believable. It's going to make us better, debatable. We believe that sets us up to win, debatable. Not only now, somewhat debatable, but not too, they're still going to be a decent team, obviously. You got Kyrie, on paper, they're still a decent team. Kyrie, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, Najee Marshall, Gafford, you still got a competitive team. I'm not sure what they mean. Winning now, like winning a championship this season, good luck, honestly. Currently 11th in the West. Good luck. But also in the future. This is the biggest lie I've ever seen in my entire life. This team's not winning anything in the future. I mean, let me just put it bluntly. You got Kyrie, who's going to be a free agent this summer, and you're banking on him deciding to stay despite one of his most beloved teammates of all time, Luka Doncic, leaving. Kyrie, who's been known to be frustrated at his prior teams, front offices, organizations, for certain moves, for certain decisions. Honestly, I'm surprised Kyrie hasn't just blown up in the media's face yet about this, because I don't blame him if he does at some point. It's deserved. And I would not blame Kyrie if he walked away from the Mavs organization this summer, because it's completely warranted. Nico Harrison, if this was done to supposedly make the team better, and this wasn't a move pushed by the ownership, if this wasn't a move pushed by his pettiness against Luka, whatever personal feelings he has, he did not take into account the human element of any of this. And it's just absolutely baffling to me that it's not something that would have been thought of. But we'll get into Nico Harrison's history soon. I'm already 11 minutes in. One other thing that happened in this press conference that really irked me was this right here. If you pair AD with Kyrie and the rest of the guys, he fits right along with our time frame to win now and win in the future. I'm sorry, but the team made it to the finals last year. You improved the roster slightly over the summer. I mean, it's the perfect situation already with Luka and Kyrie to make a run at the finals. The only reason they hadn't been winning many games is because he had so many injuries, illness, etc. Like we've talked about it in previous videos on this channel. Anyone with a brain could see that. Man. And the future to me is 3 to 4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I'm sorry. You don't know. You're the GM. You're supposed to plan not only for this season, not only for the next couple years, but for the next decade. That's what Luka is. He's the next decade. He's only 25 years of age. AD is already 31, 32, whatever it may be. Like, he's towards the end of whatever prime he has. It's completely baffling. The future to me is 3 to 4 years from now. And on top of that, you only have your draft pick this year. You don't have any draft picks for the next few years after this year. So what 3 to 4 years from now? Kyrie's going to walk, potentially. And you only have that one draft pick. You got other guys. Gafford will be on the last year of his deal next year. I'm so lost. Completely lost. Clay signed with this team to play with Luka. Like, you cannot tell me that to win now, maybe win this season. But even so, you could make the argument that the team got worse. And then he made a joke and started laughing again. They'll probably bury me and Jason Kidd by then, or we'll bury ourselves 10 years from now. I mean, whether that's true or not, the longevity of a GM in the NBA, it's a lot of GMs don't make it very many seasons, and coaches, of course. We all know that. Not very many head coaches in the NBA last for more than a couple seasons. But it's not something you joke about after you make one of the worst trades in NBA history, one of the most controversial, and you should know it's controversial going into it. Why would you make these jokes? I mean, this guy clearly doesn't know how to handle himself in the face of the media. So, after all of that went down, we've had reports throughout the week now about how the Mavs had major concerns moving forward with Luka due to his conditioning, due to his commitment, his work ethic, and the willingness to sign the Supermax contract extension. All the hit pieces start coming out. How the wrist injury in the fall wasn't actually a wrist injury. It was giving him a chance to get his conditioning in order. Just everything starts coming out about Luka being fat and lazy. That's all it is. Fat and lazy. Couldn't be farther from the truth, of course. Yet, has he gained weight? Of course. Does he seem to tend to, where am I even going with this, man? Look, it's like the man could go outside. I replied to a comment on the previous video. Luka could go out, get in and out, just slam down a few double, whatever it may be. He could load up on fries. He could have a popcorn bucket full of fries, animal style, throw down a couple milkshakes. I don't care. he's still going to put up a 50-point triple-double that night. I don't care. Okay? He's still moving fairly well. He's got 2 busted knees. Anyone that was like making jokes or, hinting at like his conditioning being poor during the playoffs last year, the man's running around with swollen, bloody knees. You've got to be kidding me. He is one of the few star players in this league that is going to play through injuries like that. I mean, just look at guys like Joel Embiid, or like, I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry, Joel Embiid caught a, he probably didn't deserve that, but I'm just trying to throw out an example here. All the hit pieces start coming out. What a disgrace. This guy was fighting for this team to win for years and, putting his body on the line, just making so much sacrifice throughout the season. And this is how he's treated upon his departure. Absolutely disgusting moves by the media and by Mavs PR. I'm appalled. I am truly baffled. I never thought this is how his departure would go. Even if it was a trade, at least show a little bit of respect. I mean, come on. That being said, not only that, but I've seen a ton of, clips from ESPN, from the national media, different articles that have been posted from other outlets as well about how they believe this makes the Mavs the second best team in the West right behind the Thunder. Were they not already the second best team in the West right behind the Thunder? They won 3 out of the 4 games that they had matched up against Thunder this season. Granted, some of those games, you got the Thunder have their own injuries they're dealing with as well. They didn't have a lot of depth at center position. But still, it's, Mavs had their injuries as well. Anyways, like, were they not already the second best team in the West on paper, given the fact that they had so many injuries and illnesses that they had to deal with, that's why they fell back in the standings, in my opinion. I just think it's goofy as heck that we're now pretending like, oh, now the Mavs are ready. Now they're good. I don't know. It could just be the media trying to get people hyped up to watch games because the Mavs still have a number of national TV games left on the schedule, and the media is scrambling to cover themselves because it's like, oh, we got to make sure people still put eyeballs on the screen. But there's a part of me that just feels like it's just a slap in the face to Luka and a slap in the face to fans that were behind him, that supported him. And what is this? What are we trying to do here, really? So Luka posted this statement, Dear Dallas, and I cried. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty emotional. And I love here that Luka recognizes, hey, this is not the fans' fault. The fans didn't want me to leave. I didn't want to leave. I thought I'd spend my career here. My goodness. Yeah. Wasn't going to sign the Supermax extension. Sure, Nico. Sure. Absolutely ridiculous that anyone would believe that he was, looking to get out of this organization. He gave a huge shout out to the community, to the fans, and to the city of Dallas. And, doesn't really mention the ownership of the organization at all. And that, I think, speaks volumes. Luka had a press conference with the Los Angeles Lakers, the introduction press conference. Of course, he's asked about the Mavericks. Of course, saying, absolutely not. If anyone in his circle had indicated he wasn't going to re-sign with the team. Luka saying how he is deeply in shock, how he wanted to be a Dallas Maverick for life, and loyalty is a big deal to me. We got the Dirk statue right outside the American Airlines Center. Loyalty never fades away. Apparently it does for this ownership and this front office, because unbelievable, Luka was in the middle of buying a house in Dallas when this all went down. Clearly he had no intentions of leaving if he was just getting prepared to finally settle in and buy a house. I mean, come on now. Absolutely absurd. And then, of course, you have the response from all of the former teammates on the Mavs. Kyrie acknowledging that our little Slovenian president's no longer here. Just figuring out how we're going to deal with all of this. He mentions picking up the pieces at a certain point in the interview which just kind of goes to show that it indirectly indicates that Nico kind of tore this team apart, and now they have to try to put everything back together. Miss my hermano. Kyrie looks like he's about to cry here. Clay choosing to sign with the Mavs to play with Luka. He made that very clear. That was the intention, to win championships and to play with the one of the best players in the league. That's a future MVP. It's just, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's all right there, right in front of you. And somehow Nico Harrison thinks that trading him away is actually going to make this team better. So let's talk about the history of Nico Harrison. And this isn't the first poor decision he's made, not the first fumble. Let's look at this Luka trade. This is a fun comparison. Obviously, this is over the course of a few different trades, but basically, to put it simply, the Nets were able to trade away 34-year-old Kevin Durant, and then some of the pieces they got back for Durant, including Mikal Bridges, who they traded to the Knicks this past offseason. This is what they turned it into. All of these first-round picks. Some of these Phoenix first-round picks, they're definitely going to be worth something. The Milwaukee first-round pick may or may not be something. They get a bunch of second-round picks in here. They get some pick swaps down the road. The Knicks may or may not be competitive in 4 or 5 years, so this is looking pretty juicy. And then meanwhile, this is what the Mavs get for Luka. They get the 2029 Lakers first-round pick, which probably won't be worth much if Luka's still on the team. And then you got Max Christie, not a bad player by any means. He's got potential, I give you that. And you get Anthony Davis, who he'll be good for the next year or two, but he's got his injury issues. He's approaching his mid-30s and, approaching that age where it's typically the end of NBA stardom for most guys. The exception being LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry. But those are like all-time generational talents that, Anthony Davis, you could make the argument he's that too, but he's got his injury issues. So, it's like night and day, the packages that these two teams got for these trades. So, and perhaps the Mavs trade Anthony Davis next year and get a ton of picks in return. Who knows? But just putting it simply, it's kind of disgusting, the difference as far as what each team got for trading away their number one players. So, talking more about Nico Harrison's fumbles, back when he was working at Nike, making a sales pitch to Stephen Curry to join the Nike family, so to speak, as opposed to signing with Under Armour or another shoe company. During the presentation in 2013, he accidentally referred to Stephen Curry as Seth Curry, and then he pulled up the presentation slides that were meant for Kevin Durant. And then the offer did not include a signature shoe. What are we doing here? Nico Harrison has a history of making the stupidest mistakes. Anyone does this in their day job, 9 to 5, they're probably getting fired, or at the very least, they're not getting a promotion. Meanwhile, Nico Harrison becomes the GM of the Dallas Mavericks. Now, what did he do as the GM of the Dallas Mavericks? Well, he messed up the Jalen Brunson situation, getting him to re-sign. Brunson came to them, allegedly, multiple times during the course of the season and the season prior about him re-signing with the Mavs, and it's baffling, absolutely baffling. Fumbled this situation. The Porzingis trade, oh my goodness. Let's talk about the Porzingis trade. Obviously, hindsight's always 20/20, but if you even look at it at the time, obviously you had to trade Porzingis away, but Porzingis averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks per game over 3 seasons. Traded him for Spencer Dinwiddie. Oh, sorry, my bad. Also included a second-round pick. Porzingis, a second-round pick for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. Bertans, of course, we all know, didn't really live up to any hype. Obviously, he got signed to a huge contract by the Wizards that for that one postseason run to the conference semifinals versus the Boston Celtics back in, I want to say it was like 2017 or something. So Bertans a bit overpaid, kind of just there to help to make contracts work. Didn't really do a whole lot of anything spectacular for the Mavs during his time there. Dinwiddie, of course, he's had his win-witty moments. He's also had some of the most atrocious ISO plays known to mankind. It's does it really amount to what you could have gotten for Porzingis? I don't really think so. And again, like I know his value at the time was not very high, but you're trading him away for Dinwiddie, who was averaging like 13 points per game. He wasn't doing so hot on a Wizards team that kind of stinks. So maybe this is revisionist history. You guys, let me know if I'm remembering this wrong in the comments, please. I'm all open, eyes and ears for it. But as far as I can tell, this trade wasn't so hot. Not at all. Especially, looking at it now, at what Porzingis is doing for the Celtics. Bertans isn't in the league. Dinwiddie is I guess a shell of his former self. I mean, he's still got some Winwiddie moments in him. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to disrespect Spencer Dinwiddie at all. But the numbers don't lie, and his clutch shooting percentage has been abysmal this year. It's very frustrating to see, and when Luka and Kyrie are both out, it seemed like instead of Kidd trying to adapt to that, to write up plays, draw up plays that involve everyone on the court, we just get Dinwiddie ISOs at the end of the shot clock, end of the game clock instead, which sometimes works out, most times didn't. That being said, the worst fumble of all is the fact that the Luka trade could have at least had a slightly better return. I mean, we already just talked about a moment ago when you compare it to the Kevin Durant situation and what the Nets got in return for Kevin Durant. They got Mikal Bridges and some picks. They traded Mikal Bridges for even more picks. Look at this. The rumor, the what's come out is that the original trade package for Luka also included multiple first-round picks and Dalton Knecht, who's been an outstanding rookie for the Los Angeles Lakers. Incredible three-point shooter. It's just absolutely disgusting. This would have made sense if you're saying this trade makes you better for now and in the future. Not having this, I mean, short term, you're good for maybe the rest of this season and that's it. I don't know what you're doing after this season. You possibly lose Kyrie for nothing. And you don't have any picks out of this. Outside of the 2029 one, that's not going to be worth anything. Luka will be around 29 years old at that age, right in the middle of his prime. I just don't see it. I just don't, this is an all-time blunder. And apparently, the reason that Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, was able to wiggle his way out of this was that he was able to convince the Mavs that Luka is a huge risk because of conditioning and because of his work ethic. You've got to be kidding me, man. Rob Pelinka might be the best GM of all time. If this is truly like no behind the scenes, influence from the ownership, if this is just Nico Harrison going out and doing what he's doing, Rob Pelinka is like the absolute, he's pulling all the Jedi mind tricks out on here. Absolutely insane. So, since all of that information came out about how the original trade package was even better and then none of the fans were buying into this trade being for now or for the future, just a ton of posts about canceling season tickets. Let's go ahead and take a look at those posts. Refunding season tickets and whatnot. Mavs PR really trying to cover up for this all-time blunder. And they're, making announcements now like, oh, now the Mavs are looking to add Kevin Durant alongside Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, but with what assets? The only assets they could trade for Kevin Durant at this point, I'm not going to whip out the fake trade machine for this, but it's either, it's got to be a combination of like, off the top of my head, it'd be Gafford, Clay, it's like throwing all the guys that get paid, PJ Washington, I guess Caleb Martin, now that they have Caleb Martin, by the way. Yeah, they trade Quentin Grimes. Where's that trade? Traded Quentin Grimes and another pick, by the way. I don't even know how many picks the Mavs have left at this point. It's nearly zero. They traded away a second-round pick in Grimes for Caleb Martin. Grimes gets paid less, but he's a restricted free agent this offseason, and he's likely going to make a huge bag because Grimes, he's had games this season that I've been to even where he's gone off for like a random 20 points in the third quarter after not scoring in the first half. He's an incredible scorer. He's an incredible hustle guy. Great defense. Philly got a good one. Shout out to Philly. Good get. Caleb Martin, on the other hand, he's ever since that great run in the postseason with Miami when they made the finals against Denver in 2023. He just hasn't really been that great. He's been okay, I guess. He's supposedly still a good defender, but come on, man. Quentin Grimes is such a beast. Now I know, like, some people will say, hey, they got Max Christie, and Max Christie's going to take those minutes now. But this is the best you could get for Quentin Grimes. This feels like a move to save money because Caleb Martin's only getting paid like $8 million a year for like the next 2 or 3 years. So feels like a move to save money more than it is to make the team better. Personally, that's how I feel. I know that the Mavs needed a backup four, but I don't agree with this. So there's then a report that came out that the Mavs are surprised, did not expect this level of backlash from the trade. I mean, how incompetent, how unaware do you have to be about your own team, your own organization? I mean, ownership's so far removed from this whole situation, I wouldn't be surprised if instead of this, being about the theory of them trying to move the team to Vegas, if this was instead just complete incompetence and that they just don't understand the product that they bought. Like that could really be what it is. It could be as simple as that they really just didn't understand the level of magnitude of this. And Nico Harrison just having a level of pettiness against Luka. I don't know. It's just kind of hilarious to me that they're allegedly surprised that they didn't expect this backlash. So again, refunds going out for season tickets, fans canceling Mavs TV. We got a protest that's going to be going on now. We got several fans, you can see in the post here, that are calling for boycotting the Mavs. Is Nico Harrison the worst figure in Mavs history? And this is where we're at now. We got all these rumors about the Mavs going for KD. The Mavs could pursue LeBron James in the summer. It's things to try to, do they really think the fans are this stupid? Do they really think we're this stupid that, this is Nico's putting together a master plan. It's not over yet. He's going to trade for Durant next. We're going to have a big three of Kyrie, KD, and AD. Like we're back in 2018 talking about how those three were going to pair up in Boston with the Celtics, in case y'all forgot about that. What a joke. What an absolute joke of a PR response. I mean, I guess it's not the PR team's fault. They didn't know this trade was coming because Nico didn't tell anyone. But this is, they must think the fans are stupid if they expect the majority of folks, I should say, to really buy into that. So this is where we're at this point. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm out. I can't support this team anymore. I respect anyone that's sticking with them. Good luck, honestly. I still have tickets to a few more games this season, one of which I do have tickets to the Lakers game in April, and that one is the only one I'm looking forward to. The other ones, heck, I might leave the game at halftime. I'm not going to be rooting for the team while I'm there. Probably just going to cheer for the opponent, I guess, or just sit there like I'm watching a random basketball game on TV because, I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. Not gonna be supporting the team as long as Nico Harrison's the GM, as long as the Adelsons are running the show the way that they are running it. I can't support this team. I really can't. But good luck to anyone that is. No disrespect to you, but I just can't do it. At this moment on, from here on out, probably gonna be just go supporting Luka at this point. I mean, I'll be like all those diehard LeBron fans that are just following LeBron around the league. They're Miami Heat fans, and they're Cavs fans again, and now they're Lakers fans. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I'm sort of a Lakers fan now, I guess, as ugly as that is to say out loud. I mean, I hope Luka gets his championship. I hope he gets revenge against the Mavs front office. I would love nothing more than Luka to win the championship this season. Would be absolutely incredible. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments section down below. Again, welcome to anyone that's new to the channel. I appreciate you coming by. I hope you stick around. We're going to be talking all kinds of NBA stuff. We're still going to talk about the Mavs, just not in the same light that we had been. Definitely not with a lot of optimism, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, appreciate y'all sticking around. Let me know in the comments down below your feelings on it. Will you be at the protest Saturday? I'm not sure that I will be, but maybe I will. Who knows? Click one of the videos on your screen now for some more NBA discussion.